Hi you guys, welcome back to Trinica Creates. In this video, I'll show you how I hand sew face masks using two different designs. Before we get into the video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. So I'm going to show you guys how I make my face mask. I use cotton print fabric and I buy these squares that are at Walmart, usually for $1. In the clearance aisle, so I wait till they put out their seasonal prints on clearance. Right now you can't find any fabric at Walmart, so happy shopping trying to find that. You can also use t-shirt fabric. I have two different patterns here, so I'm going to show you what each of these masks look like. So what I do is I just took a piece of paper. I'll show you what the measurements are for these. I didn't use anyone else's pattern. I just kind of eyeballed what I wanted to do. So this measures across almost 6 inches, and from top to bottom that is 4.5 inches for this one. Going across the bottom, that's 4.5 inches, and then the earpiece is going to be 2 3/4 of an inch, and then I'm going to go from the longest part out. That's going to be about 6 inches going across, and then this will be 3.5 inches going across, and then this part, and you can just kind of make them straight lines and then arch them when you get ready to cut. So that's about 3 3/4, almost 4 inches. So this one seems like a more intricate pattern. This one kind of pokes out in more of a parachute shape at the face. It's not pointy, it actually rounds itself out, but so that's what that will look like on the face. This one is more curved, less protruding from the face. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that you put the rounded part on your folded edge. So you do want to fold your fabric in half so that you're cutting once per side. This way the pattern is mirrored. So on the folded edge, put the rounded part down and cut that out. Same thing here, your rounded part, the bottom, you want to make sure that you're only cutting that part once, and so that just makes for less sewing. So you're just going to cut around here with this part down by the folded edge. It looks like this. When I open it up, I only had to cut once, and you're going to do that 2 times. So you're going to cut 2 of these or 2 of these. Now this one I already sewed the edge, so I'll show you what that looks like. You're going to want to sew this edge, these 2 edges together to make it rounded. So out of this whole pattern, I just sewed these 2 edges. So I'll show you how I'm stitching this pattern here. So I turned it inside out, and now I'm going to take my needle and thread and start my stitch. And once I have it in place, I'm just going to do an accordion fold back and forth, giving some room around the edge so that it doesn't fray. And I'm just going to do an accordion fold onto the needle. This really is the quickest way to hand stitch. And then you go a few rounds and then you pull it through. You have several stitches. So in order for you to be able to reuse this, stitching it is the best way. But if you decide you want to hand wash your mask, that may be a way where you can hot glue it and preserve it. I haven't tried that, but that might be a possibility if you plan on making several masks, and then in between washes you just alternate your mask and then hand wash them and let them hang dry. You wouldn't want to put the hot glue in your washing machine or your dryer, I wouldn't recommend that. But so yeah, and I know that there are a lot of patterns for no-sew mask. I have asthma, so breathing is difficult on a regular basis, and I have allergies. So the idea of folding a handkerchief over and having that full handkerchief on my mouth folded over about 4 to 8 layers, that's not a breathable material for me. So for me, this works best. So that's what that stitch looks like. And you see when you turn it over, you get the shape of your mask. Okay? So that's how you do the sewing part by hand. And I'm not going to go through making the whole thing because there's so many tutorials on how to make the mask. I want to show you how to assemble the pieces together now. So once you have your 2 pieces to this point where you've sewn the rounded parts, I'm going to take a whole nother piece of fabric. So once you have those 2 pieces, you want to bring them together. And I always start off, these are going to be the ends closer to the ear. I'm making masks that have pockets to put filters in, so that the mask will look like this. So to do that, again, you're going to turn them inside out. And you're going to bring the ends together. And then what you want to do is sew these together all the way up to the pockets. Make them line up. Sew all the way around. And when you get to the other end, stop and leave this open. And I'll show you what that next step is. And this is what it looks like when you sew 2 patterns together in the inside. So once you have it sewn, you should have something that looks like this. This is your mask. You're going to take your 2 ear parts, and you want to sew one time. So what I do is fold this down. Make sure you turn it inside out before you do this. Fold this down onto itself. And now we're going to secure the edges with a hem and attach elastic. So once I have that first stitch in the elastic, I'm just going to reinforce it by doing several loops back and forth. So now that this is secure, I am just going to do that accordion fold going across the hem. So again, the accordion fold. Now I have a hem. And this doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be exact. It's just so that those edges are not exposed. So now that that is secure, I'm going to take the other side of this elastic and loop it. And I'm going to just sew right through the back of this elastic. And once it's attached, I'm just going to go back and forth to secure it. And so this is what it'll look like. It's nothing fancy, but that's what it'll look like, and this has plenty of give for your ear. So I'll show you what a finished mask looks like. This pattern here yields a mask like this. For this pattern, and then this mask. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.